Welcome to the second hour of the show with no name for August 23, 2013. I'm Bob Going with Jim Nikosha and Gavin Murdoch. Did I say this is the show with no name?
You did now.
Have you guys been watching the special effects after we do these shows?
How do you put them in?
I haven't watched one.
How do you put them in?
It's magic. It's magic.
Yeah. I can barely take mine and put it on my computer and make a DVD from it without any effect.
Well, don't ask me to make a DVD from it.
No, but it just...
I'd be plumb out of luck.
But it's something that small and little technology.
It's Windows Movie Maker, which comes with Windows. Actually.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't even use any. Of course, I'm doing this without a microphone, so how's that?
I think I did that on my computer, Movie Maker.
Windows Movie Maker.
I never used it, but.
Well, once you get the hang of it, it's I do it very quickly. It takes far more time for it to
load on
to load it and then to compile it than to actually do the effects. It's I don't do anything too fancy.
Modern technology.
Like getting your names up, like Gavin Murdoch.
I gotta watch. I don't watch the show.
You don't watch the show? Oh.
Since I participate, I figure
You
I
know-
know what's going on.
All right, Jim Nikosha.
And?
Oh wait, I gotta wait 7 seconds.
Oh, see,
Huh?
that's technique.
Well, no, I could shorten it, but it takes too much extra time to do it. And I'm going. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
So what is the story with all the boats? Huh?
Well, now let's back up a little bit. The city borrowed. Correct me if I'm wrong with any of this, Jim, as you're the one who keeps track of this. The city borrowed money for the Dove Creek project over in your neighborhood.
Yes, they did.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did.
And then they took some of that money and used it to buy docks for the Riverlink Park.
That's what I understand.
Wasn't it like $100,000 or something for the docks? Something like that.
Something like that.
So we got these docks that came out of the Dove Creek project.
Okay.
Right? But the good news is because we have these docks, these big pleasure boats are pulling in there
And docking.
and using the showers and grabbing a meal at the restaurant maybe, and all to the benefit of the city of Amsterdam, you would assume. Huh?
You would assume, but
Is that a bad thing to do, assume?
that's a bad word.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Okay. Now, as I understand it, the city is renting out the restaurant building to the current concessionaire
Mm-hmm.
for the grand sum of $300 for the season.
Oh.
That's not bad,
That's
you know.
a good
It's hard to get a law office for
the
$300 for a month.
For the year.
Yeah, but it's basically for the season. They're not open past when the.
But they can if they want to.
Yeah, but how are you going to get there?
Well, that's
Over the aerial bridge.
Once the canal is closed, you'd have to go through the air. But in any event, so I don't know under what authority, since the Canal Corporation actually owns the underlying property, but apparently these boats are getting charged to dock overnight.
Okay. That's
There, which okay.
fair.
All right.
According
I
to
mean,
the
we got $100,000 worth of docks there from the Dove Creek Fund.
Use them.
according to the contract, $1 a foot per boat.
So a 30-foot boat will pay $3 for the night.
30-foot boat, $30.
Okay.
Okay.
Which
Now,
That's appealing.
Jim mentioned according to the contract. The contract is the contract with the concessionaire you're talking about.
yes,
So the concessionaire who pays $300 to rent the restaurant is collecting all the fees for the boat docking. Now let's say
that's in the contract.
60 feet worth of boats docking per night.
Okay.
According to the contract, that's $60, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, in 1 week, the concessionaire takes in more than he pays for the entire season to rent the restaurant.
Okay.
Now I understand it's an excellent restaurant. Everybody I've talked to who's been there,
Yes, I've heard that.
raves
Yeah.
raves about the restaurant. However, you can have pretty excellent stuff if your overhead is being paid for by basically by the taxpayers of the city of Amsterdam.
Now, the city also pays the utility bills for the restaurant.
Well, that's an incredible statement, if true.
It's in the contract.
That's amazing.
It's in the contract.
That's amazing.
And the concessionaire does not have to take care of the land of the park.
Which used to be
Used to be part of the
concessionaire deal.
Yeah.
Now, but fortunately, the city gets rent on the tent, right?
Yes, they get 10% of the rent of the tent.
Oh, wait a minute. Didn't the city pay for the whole tent?
Yes.
Okay, the city pays for the whole tent. The city has the lease on the property from the Canal Corp.
But the concessionaire is renting the tent out to a
The
party.
concessionaire is renting the tent out,
He's renting it out to
and the city gets
the city.
10%.
Wait. No, wait a minute.
Oh.
The concessionaire gets 10%. No, wait a minute. Excuse me, yeah.
The city gets
The
10%.
city gets 10% of the revenue, except if the concessionaire has to rent tables or chairs, that comes out of the city's 10%.
That comes out of the city's 10%?
That comes out of the city's 10%. So, and any
Hey, I think we owe them money.
yeah, and any money he expends in that tent is reimbursed. It comes out of his 10%, the 10% or the $300 rent.
You know, I would think that the individual who
Nice
signed
work
this
if you can get
contractor has the concession did a very good job of you know, negotiating to have that. You know, but
He's an excellent person and an excellent restaurant. So it's incumbent upon us.
It would be terrible thing. Terrible thing to request that he actually pay for for using our buildings. Meanwhile, we took what, 50 grand out of the golf course this year?
Yes,
Yeah.
if not more. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But and now, well, the next thing is the golf course needs some work. $18,000 to repair a roof on
We don't know what.
some building. I don't know what building.
there's only 3 buildings there.
Well, somebody said it was on one of the storage buildings.
Well, let's hope it's not on
And
the clubhouse, because that was just completely done during the Emanuel
and
administration.
that was a travesty. What they
It was a travesty. We paid we paid through the nose on that because it just completely went. We ended up doing it on an emergency basis. I think the water was just pouring in there, pouring.
No. Well, you know, the guy who has the concession down there, he should be commended for his entrepreneurial work and
Absolutely.
the quality of his work and his
Absolutely.
negotiating skills.
Yep.
You know, I would think we'd probably like to employ this guy the rest of the year as a negotiator for the city in any dealings that we have going on.
Excellent idea. Excellent
Good
idea.
idea.
You know?
Right. That's right.
That'd be great.
Make lemonade.
Make lemonade out of lemons. That's right. But wow, what a contract! I wonder if you know, we could open someplace and have that sort of arrangement. If we took over the Crystal and could negotiate with the city,
Yeah.
to only pay them 10% and be able to keep the other 90% for us and lay off any extraneous costs of the place onto the city,
Yeah.
we could do all right there.
Yeah.
Tony could have done all right there if he had that kind of arrangement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he didn't have that guy negotiating.
Well, you're right. Right, he didn't. He
Got
didn't.
to talk to Tony, see if he.
Matter of
Get
fact,
that
Tony got the wrong place. He should have gone down to. He should have bid on the Riverlink, right?
Yes.
I understand.
What?
The guy at Riverlink, rumor has it that he's looking at the Crystal to open.
Why bother?
Well, because he can only seat I don't know, 20 people in his place.
Uh-huh.
Well, then maybe he's not as smart as we gave him credit for. Although if he's negotiating with the county, I don't know who ended up with Crystal, the county or somebody else?
I don't know.
Oh no, the county took all the.
Stuff out.
took all the stuff out and all the cash. Yeah.
I mean, if he could go in there and city pay all the utilities and pay the city $300 a year, I think that would be a good place for him.
Well,
Yeah, I'm sure the city was thinking when they negotiated this, you know, that
well, we say
if we
the city,
didn't,
of course, we mean the mayor because nobody else even.
all right, you know,
Nobody's allowed.
Well, yeah, but it's not
Yeah,
like
but which mayor are we talking about?
this one. It's not like any of the.
Yeah, but which one is this one?
Jerry.
Jerry or
Oh no, Jerry couldn't be bothered negotiating that. I'm sure the mayor did.
you know, and then the city probably thought that, you know, getting that little bit and investing that little bit is worth it, so that building isn't empty.
I heard somebody said
Something is better than nothing. I'm sure that was their thought.
Somebody said they had 7,000 boat spot are going through there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, I don't think there's 7,000 votes went through the canal this year.
Sure.
That's what I
No.
mean. Is it they went through the canal or they stopped at the?
Oh, there
Oh.
couldn't possibly be 7,000.
You know, I drive over that bridge twice a day, every day, taking my guys over to Liberty in the morning and picking them up in the afternoon. And I've never seen more than 3 boats there at any one time being docked.
Yeah,
You know, so I can't. 7,000 is a ludicrous number.
When there's a concert going on, you'll get a few more.
Yeah, Saturday night, but it's. I mean, you're not 7,000 boats.
You know, they don't even advertise the movie that they have every week. They have a movie over there every week.
The
don't they?
website, Recreation Department website.
Yeah, but
You have to go to that website and look.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they don't even send emails out on it.
No.
You're right. I haven't seen anything in the
No,
paper.
nothing in
There's
the
been a movie
paper.
every week, one place or another, and
Yeah.
we haven't seen it.
No.
maybe she doesn't want anybody down there.
Well, it's not the movie locations have been all over the city.
Oh, they have.
They had one up
Yeah.
at Veterans
Oh, I
one
didn't
night
know
and
that.
stuff,
I-
but
I-
still, I haven't seen a whole lot about that.
Actually, it was nice when it was on Veterans Field the same
Yeah.
day every week, and you were used to it. That was actually a nice place to, because
View.
there's a gentle slope there, and
Yeah.
they made it just right for bringing your lawn chairs or your
Centrally
blankets.
located.
Yeah,
Geez, it would be beautiful to go to Sassafras in the amphitheater.
yeah.
Fix that up. And,
The only problem there is it's buggy. It's but there's like already electricity there, so it's not even. Lord only knows what condition that's in, but
it's in bad shape.
I don't think they've touched that in
Long time.
Long time.
Since
Yeah,
my
long time.
grandchildren were in school up there.
I don't even know where it was plugged into. The school? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I remember seeing a play there. I saw Oedipus Rex was done there. Oh heck, I was a junior in high school.
Oh,
I think, because Bill Dosher was in it, and he was
Bill Dosher.
and he was a year or two older than me.
Yeah,
A year-
yeah.
a year older.
Flash out of the past.
Concerts. I went to
Yeah.
a couple concerts there, but
Yeah, that was.
He went to Albany State with me. He was a year ahead of me, I think. Yeah. W.C. Dosher.
Yeah,
W.C.
Bill Dosher. I remember him from the Boy Scouts.
last
Yep.
Friday,
He's a pretty good actor.
I baked in my Adobe oven.
Yeah.
And it took an hour and a half to heat the oven up. And it took,
How much wood?
you know, I used all scrap wood, so we picked it up at the Hamill's stair place down there.
Yeah.
Down
And,
in
my son brought it home, a couple loads. I just loaded it up, fired it up for an hour and a half, took the ashes out, put the bread in there. It came out delicious.
How many loaves at a time?
I had 8 in there at a time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
that could feed a multitude.
Well, we had a party Saturday, so
Well, you know, his immediate family is what, about 40 people, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
Seriously.
well, between my family and the groom's family, we had 50 people. It was an anniversary party for my daughter and her husband. But I had all 5 loaves in a big basket there.
You have fish too?
No fish. No, we had the London broil steaks about this big.
Whoa.
About 4 of them.
Yeah.
I sliced them up.
You know, it's too bad we were busy that night.
Yeah, and weren't invited as usual.
Yeah, well.
I got the mother fermenting right now. You know what the mother is for bread.
The what?
Mother.
That's the
Oh,
yeast.
yeah.
It's the yeast and bread and dough. I put it in last night about 9 o'clock in the refrigerator.
Is it getting bigger?
I looked at it about 1 o'clock. I had to get up during the night, and it was right at the top of the bowl. The bowl is about like this big.
Yeah.
So I went out there this morning, and it was down. And before I came up here, I looked, and it came up again. So I'll after the show I'll go home and I'll have to mix it with my regular.
Well, I gotta tell you, I made a loaf this week. Of course, I just put it in the bread maker. It takes very little time. You put the wet ingredients first, put the dry stuff on top of it, and the yeast on top of that, and you press a button.
Whoa.
Well, you got to make sure the important thing that you have the correct weight, whether it's a 1 pound, 1.5 pound, or 2 pound loaf, and how you want the crust. Aside from that, anyway, I got this because I have to have the gluten-free flour. So I got this. I think it's called Pamela's bread. I got it in Hannaford off the gluten-free shelf. And I don't think I had tried this particular brand before, but one of the nice things about the package is you have your standard bread, which you just throw in, but then they got little variations on it, and one of which is whole wheat, and it's not really whole wheat, it's just meant to taste like whole wheat when you're done. Because
Well,
if it was whole wheat, it wouldn't be gluten-free.
You'd have
If it's
trouble.
wheat at all, it wouldn't be gluten-free. But anyway, so I thought, we'll give this a go. You know what? You add to the regular formula, which is the bread, 2 eggs, a little oil, and that's it. That's all you add. Except for the whole wheat, you add 2 tablespoons of molasses. It was fantastic in every way. It was not only the best tasting gluten-free bread I've ever had, it was the best tasting bread. And it had a nice consistency to it as well, which you don't often get with the gluten-free breads. They're often kind of dry, and this wasn't at all. It was unbelievable. So that's going to the top of my list. I might try some of their other variations, but boy, that two lousy tablespoons of molasses made the whole difference. Fantastic.
Well, letting this thing ferment overnight gives the bread a different flavor too.
And do you keep the leaven for?
No.
You just use it up.
I just use it up because I don't know when I'm going to use it again.
Yeah.
And if you keep it, then you got to feed it every day. Without that bologna, I just forget about it.
Well, that's how sourdough is made, right?
Yeah.
Sourdough bread. Yeah.
Sourdough, yeah, but that's fed every day. After a week, then you can use it as
Sourdough bread is carried on from the gold rush days in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It was just kind of stumbled upon accidentally, and they've kept the leaven alive all these years. So every loaf of sourdough bread you got is a direct descendant from that loaf that was made in San Francisco, like in the 1850s, something like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you get it from the right place.
Well, it's supposed to all be that way.
No,
You think it's a lie?
Well, no. I mean, if
sales?
you make your own sourdough, it's not from that batch.
It's supposed to be. How you making it otherwise?
You can make it yourself at home.
Oh, that's not real sourdough then.
Sure it is.
No, it isn't. What are you using to make it? Just ordinary yeast?
Yeah.
Oh no,
Ordinary yeast.
that's not sourdough.
Cheap imitation.
Cheap imitation.
It's not the real thing.
Not the real thing at all.
Well, to use real.
You can look it up and you can Google it.
To use real sourdough, the authentic, you've got to get it from somebody, and
That's right.
you pay for it.
That like that friendship bread that people keep passing around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you
Divide this into 4 parts, and it just keeps growing
Growing and
and growing in your kitchen.
It's like a pyramid scheme to me.
It seems like it. That seems to work.
Huh.
I mean, what happens when you're at the bottom of the pyramid? Well, then you got 40 loaves of bread, I guess,
And no fish.
and no fish. Which brings us back to the mural.
Speaking of
Now-
speaking of fishy.
Now, it seems like a very pretty mural. The pictures I've seen of it, and of course I've had it described to me by my friend Bruce Conover, who saw it for many years because his father owned the building. But the history of it is a little obscure, and the mayor is obsessed not only with the mural, but also with marketing this fabulous room on the third floor of what is 46 East Main Street. Okay, let's get what?
If you go back to the beginning of that building and
Right.
taking it over, a businessman from New York who owns one of the adjacent buildings
Right.
wanted to buy that building. He offered him $22,000, I believe, for that building. The mayor
That's the going rate on Main Street.
the mayor heard about it, and she went. This is what I was told.
Yeah.
She went to Ada,
Yeah.
and she says, "Buy that building.
You must buy this building.
I will stop that guy from buying it. You buy it." And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So Ada bought it under her
Right.
Direction.
direction,
Right.
and now from
Now,
there.
now it's like she has nothing to do with it, and then she's outraged at the way they're handling it. Now, okay. Now, you and I, when we were youngsters, and Jim, when he was a well-established
Family man.
Local entrepreneur, can recall when Main Street was very, very busy.
When
Vigorous.
Main Street was Main Street.
All right, when Main Street was open all the way, and you know, the Conovers never seemed to be hurting. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
They did a good business there, right?
Yeah.
All right. I believe in the entire time the Conovers owned that building, and we're going back to the 1930s, or early 1930s, they bought that building. I think it was Bob Conover's actually grandfather, not even his father, bought the building.
Yeah, it would have to be his grandfather.
His grandfather bought the building. For a while, it was rented out to one of the Red Men, International Order of Red Men fraternal organizations, which is where the mural came from, because it's a mural of Sir William Johnson and the Indians, essentially, or at least the buildings associated with them. Aside from that, and I think the Red Men were out of there as far back as Bob Conover could remember, Bruce's father, okay? So we're talking, they were out of there in the 30s, right? That third floor has never been used for anything significant
Other than just a little bit of storage.
from the 1930s to today. And we're talking 80 some years that it hasn't been used for anything. It wasn't even particularly used for storage. Most of the Conover storage was on the second floor.
You're right.
The only thing that it was used for was at one point they were redoing the store downstairs, and so they had some new fixtures, and Bob Conover spray painted them on the third floor, which is why there's spray paint. Green spray paint that is on that is now on the mural, including some pegboard he was doing, so that the dots are all over it. For a while, when Bob Conover was the scoutmaster for Troop 40, the troop stuff was stored up there, the tents and the whatever, the utensils, the pots and pans, and
Dutch ovens for
Dutch
making
ovens.
bread.
That's right. First aid kits and all that stuff was stored up there. So when there was a camporee, we'd all have to go up to the third floor, grab that stuff, and bring it down. But that was it. I mean, in all those years, it wasn't. Although it was originally could have been apartment space. Most of those third floors on Main Street were fraternal halls of one sort or another. Along the way, they were never economically viable as separate units that would bring that would aid in commerce, etc. There was never a dentist's office up there. There was never a lawyer's office. There was nothing. Nobody wanted to go up to the third floor. Now, all these years later, when there is no traffic on Main Street, she wants to spend all this time and effort and money and $18,000 to just to preserve this mural, and $50,000 in grant money to rehab the building, to You know, rethink what this space could be used for. Well, guess what? If it wasn't worth anything in 1933, it ain't worth anything now.
And you're not talking something like you have the murals in the post office.
Right.
Okay. It's nowhere near on the same plane as
Right.
those.
Right. And those almost got covered up.
And they almost got covered up. Fortunately, they got touched up, and they're nice. I mean, everybody who's ever lived in the
Now,
Amsterdam.
I don't often agree with Patsy Bay on a lot of things, but you say, all right, so we put sheetrock over it, and if in the future somebody wants to rediscover it, let them rediscover it. I don't know. Maybe you could steam them off because it's all on wallpaper, and half of it seems to be falling down anyway. Maybe, but I doubt it.
It'd take a lot of money to remove them.
I'm not sure it could be done. To tell you the truth, as one who's removed lots of wallpaper over the years, but it's wallpaper on top of wallpaper, so it might come off a little easier,
Yeah.
or not.
Is it?
But if that's not possible, sheetrocking, it seems like a very responsible way to address the issue, and frankly, it would improve the walls, which have deteriorated somewhat.
Now, what is the long-range plan for the building?
There is none.
There is none. She's
Oh, there
trying to
isn't.
market. No, she's
No,
trying to
she's,
market.
let's re-envision this.
She's got somebody out. Some woman looked at it,
Okay.
but she doesn't know what she can do or how she can raise. the
Yeah, I
money
think
for
we
it.
know who that is.
So she says give her a few weeks to come
Yeah,
up with the money.
I think we know who that is.
I
I don't even know why they're even bothering sheetrocking it. Let's take care of the rest of the building and then consider whether there's anything to be done other than fix the leaks.
Was there a doctor's office on the second floor?
Ever?
And a
I don't think so.
dentist?
No, I don't believe so.
No, that was
Conover used that space.
down probably was the dentist. I used to be I thought I used to go to the dentist up there. Who was down there? It was
Oh wait, I almost had it.
yeah. He went to school with the
Right.
kid.
Right.
Marini. No, it wasn't.
No.
Marini.
No.
It was before. Son of a gun.
The telephone thing. Telephone place.
Sapia.
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 That's
Yes.
right. Very good. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you,
Yes.
Jim. That got us there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just
I think I was in that building once, out on the third floor, and I thought there was a stage in the front part of the building.
I didn't see one in the pictures, but there may very well have been at one time, although more than likely it was just a platform.
And
raised
they had-
platform. Yeah.
They had an elevator type of thing way in the back. The electrical parts for an elevator that was never there or had been there and had been taken out. I don't know.
Could be. You might have had a lift,
Some kind of a lift in there.
Yeah.
Dumbwaiter.
I got to ask Ray. Because I think Ray
Well,
was...
some of those buildings had those scissors lifts, so it wasn't actually a pulley and rope elevator. It was just you would jack it up to the next floor.
I got to ask Ray because I think Ray maintained that building for a while.
Ray Ludwin?
Yeah.
Oh. Did you hear anything about the downtown motel, a hotel?
That's what I heard in the paper.
Hampton Inns?
Hampton Inns.
How many times have we seen this over? Of course, I've read the old editorials. The one from 1946,
Yeah.
particularly.
What
comes
we
to mind.
need.
The
Right.
newspaper said, though, they paid the back taxes on it. $500,000.
Yeah.
Taxes and fees and penalties they paid. That's according to the paper.
Yeah.
So if they did that, then they've got to be serious about.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not, but you got to go back and take a look and see. You got to ask how is it that what used to be the jewel of downtown began to fade in the first place, because there wasn't an economic need for it. Plus they completely bypassed it with the arterial and the downtown renovation.
But we're fixing the arterial issue now,
That's
aren't we? I mean,
That's going to be interesting when they open it up.
When are you going to open? You know, I'll bet they'll open on the first day of school.
But the fact that
I don't know.
oh, the road, you mean?
Yeah. That's
think
when
I'll
the
wait.
traffic pattern will
I think
change.
I'll wait a week or two after they open them before I go down there.
Now, I don't know how many times we've poured government money into that building, one way or directly or indirectly, or to that spot. I mean, basically, the Holiday Inn was basically, the property was practically given to the developer to begin with, and then when it began to deteriorate in the 80s, after it was all of 10 years old, they got a huge loan from Ada, like 200 grand or something like that, to rehabilitate the building, the 10-year-old building. And then the guy skipped town with it, took the money and used it to develop his wife's property in Ohio. And Ada never recovered that money, so Ada ended up with a lien on all the dishes and furnishings, and the bank foreclosed on the hotel. Then it went up for auction, and people from Johnstown bought it.
Yeah.
They put in between. Joe Isabel had put several $100,000 into the building of his own, which he lost because once he put the money into the building, then then it was worth more, and he couldn't afford to buy. He would have had to on the auction. He would have had to bid against
Himself.
Against himself, essentially. Yeah. He'd have to pay for it twice. So I don't think he ever got any. I don't think he got a dime out of it after he put all that money in and put in new rugs and everything else.
You put 500.
Then how many? Not that many years ago, they were looking to Ada for more money to redo the pool area into a banquet room and stuff like that, and they weren't. They were. I don't know whatever happened, whether that happened or didn't happen. But in any event, not since the days when Coleco had all their Japanese technicians staying there while they were developing the Atom computer has that place been prospering. Initially, when it went up, it got a big overflow crowd from Saratoga. Since then, Saratoga's built about 15 more hotels.
We don't get overflow.
And so we're not getting the overflow during the Saratoga season. I mean, it got to the point where they were renting out what used to be the Holiday Inn to a swingers club once a month, where they would rent the whole building for a weekend, and these swingers from Schenectady, the Schenectady Swingers Club, were coming in violation of the city zoning ordinance, I might add.
We don't swing.
But they were only getting like $50 a room, a night per room. Okay, I mean that's how bad it got in the restaurant, which used to be booming. The last two times I've gone there in recent years, I don't even know if it's opened. On each occasion, when I went in for lunch, and it was because somebody else was taking me to lunch, there was only one other table occupied in the place.
And the bar's not going anymore. Eddie Lieber got out of the bar down there.
The only decent meal I ever had there was breakfast.
We used to have decent lunches there back in the 80s. I forget who was running it, but back when downtown was downtown, there was still
something there.
You know, there's all the lawyers would meet there at lunchtime.
Have you been down to the new establishment on East Main Street, Shooters?
What is it?
Shooters Pool.
That's a pool.
Oh no!
It's, they had their menus up at Rockfest last weekend. They got a pretty decent menu. It's kind of like a recovery room type of menu. So I haven't been down there yet to try it, but supposed to. The guys put a lot of money in there and it's fixed it up. It's got supposed to have a real nice bar in there. It's got it's a sports kind of bar. They've got, I don't know what they said in there, 40 TVs, sports station.
Wow, really?
Yeah. You know, we'll have to sometime on a Tuesday after we get the show.
The old Grants building, they still in there?
Yeah, it's just kitty corner from the Bookhound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's supposed to be pretty nice. Let's go and try it sometime. Support our local businesses.
That's right. I'm all for it. I mean, there are some people who think that we don't support Main Street. Listen, I miss Main Street. I'm glad we have a bookstore in town.
That's right. It is the.
Especially, although I gotta say, I don't know. This is. I saw on Facebook this morning that the book hound is closed until next Tuesday or something like that. And I say, how dare you? How dare you, Dan Weaver? You've got books of mine to sell.
That's
This
right.
book. Where do we find such men?
Yeah, it's going to cut down on your sales.
Oh well.
But you can still go to Peddler's Wagon and get a copy of it too.
You know, that's true. That's true. The Peddler's Wagon has it. And of course, you can get it on Amazon.
And that's open 24 hours a day.
That is. The Amazon, that is.
Yes.
Yeah. Peddler's Wagon has decent hours. And it's also a nice place to buy one of my books because then you can buy some other stuff while you're there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a pretty good selection.
Yeah. I'm out walking the dog the other day out on the bike path on the south side, and a fellow comes running along, and he's got these earbuds in, and he sees me, he takes the earbuds out, and he says, Bob, great book, really enjoyed it, and then he runs past me.
Who was it?
His cousin.
No. It was no one I expected.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
And then I ran into somebody else yesterday who unexpectedly told me that her father had bought 2 copies of my book. So I'd like to hear that. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asked me last week if I had the book. I said, yeah. She said, I wanted to read that. I said, they got him at the book hound. And
Thank you.
You ain't going to get my...
You know.
You know, when Todd was up last week, I gave him his copy of the book. I gave it to him, I don't know, Wednesday. Gave it to him Wednesday. I get home Thursday, I can't find him. He's reading the book. He got through like half the book in the first day. He thought it was absolutely wonderful.
Good.
I started to read it the second time and I couldn't.
Wait, just don't leave it at
Too
that.
many unknown words?
No.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
very emotional.
It's you know, and I think that's...
It's hard to read it with a dry eye. I'll tell you.
That's the hard That's the connection with Amsterdam, because everybody knows somebody in there.
Yeah.
And it really gets a hold of you.
Yeah.
And that's what good literature should do.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of speaking engagements scheduled. One is going to be with the St. Mary's Holy Name, either the October or November meeting, I forget, or I'm not even sure we set a date yet. And then I'll be speaking at the Inman's Club on the Friday before Veterans Day, so I think it's November 8th. The Inman Senior Center. They're having a special Veterans Day celebration, so be down there then. I would let's see, there are a couple of events. There's they're going to have the city sponsoring some kind of. They're getting vendors for the homecoming.
Yeah, I saw it on Amsterdam Recreation Department website.
That's not a bad idea, because you get all those people who come out for the parade, and then if they have vendors up on the Four Diamonds, there, a nice flat area to set up, and that seems like a good place for me to settle in. You know, I hadn't. It's really too late to think of it now. I should have got a table at the Fonda Fair as well. Gosh, that's next week already, isn't it?
It is. Next weekend's Labor Day.
Wait.
Next weekend's Labor Day.
Yeah, this week is the
week
Syracuse.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Time's flying. You're having flies.
So the Fonda Fair probably opens Tuesday, right? Or Monday or Tuesday? This is?
I don't know.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, but then it goes through Labor Day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where does time go?
Well, of course, the first is like, Labor Day's like on the 2nd, they sure, or something like that.
Yeah, it's as early as it can be.
Yeah. Or no, could be on the 1st.
Could be on the 1st.
Yeah, it's first Monday in September.
First Monday in September, so yeah. So it's pretty close. Next year it will be, which really cuts the summer short. But yeah, it's gone fast.
Oh, we got time. We got a lot of time. Got a lot of time. A lot of time. The summer just seems like another piece of time once you get now that haven't been working too much.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you know why time goes faster when you get older, don't you?
why is that?
Because in proportion to your life, it's less and less. When you're 5 years old, a year is 1/5 of your life.
Yeah, that's true.
When
You
you're
think that's the reason? Yeah.
Yeah. I deduce that. That it is. It just it just goes fast. I mean, when you're young, it takes forever because you haven't experienced it that often. We've experienced 61 summers, Bob.
I first, I remember first being conscious of that when I was like maybe 6 years old. And I think it was because the comic books always had those ads in the back that said you have to be 12 years old to answer this ad.
Remember those?
Yeah, and I don't even remember what they were for.
Yeah.
For selling seeds or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, God,
What was-
how long will it be till I turn 12? I'm only 6 now.
But what was it they
Selling
sold?
salve.
Sad, but there was some product they kept marketing for kids to go out and sell.
There was Grit,
Grit, the newspaper.
weekly newspaper.
Yeah.
I remember a kid actually coming to our door trying to sell Grit.
Yeah.
We bought one issue, and when he came back the next week, and he had the bag and everything, you know, I said, no, this.
Nah.
My father said, no, this paper stinks, you know, so I'm not going to give you 10 cents for this paper.
Yeah. And they used to have the ads in there. You could buy 100 toy soldiers for 99 cents, and they were those little silhouette plastic ones. I mean,
Yeah.
there was nothing to them. But I remember I got my first ones, and I said, "Oh, so disappointing." Because your expectations of what you're getting. Is
Right, you're
somewhat
expecting that big green set.
Oh, yeah.
Or you get Charles Atlas's book.
Oh.
That was the other one. You had to be 12 to
Hey,
12 to go to Charles.
It doesn't
Atlas.
work. All right, look at me. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
My brother bought him too.
You're not gonna let them kick sand in your face anymore.
Yeah,
are you?
98-pound weakling. I wish I had weighed that much. 98 pounds.
98
You
pound
know.
weakling.
Yeah, I remember. Yep, you know, you go to Sammy Fariello's, you know, and they'd have all the comic, you know. But I bought Tarzan, and I bought the Classics Illustrated.
Classics we bought.
I bought those.
I was big on Batman.
I never.
Batman.
like that.
I understood the difference between him and the other superheroes at that because he was real.
He was real.
You know, he was he had no human superhuman powers.
That's right.
All he had was his brain and his cleverness.
And they just announced who's going to be playing the next Batman too.
Yeah, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw it yesterday.
Uh,
Yeah, but
Are they gonna reboot the series yet again for like the 5th time? Or, the Christian Bale series was quite good. I thought the Dark Knight series.
I only saw the first Batman one, and I didn't care for it. I didn't.
Actually, I think I saw the second one first,
Yeah.
and then the third one, and then I finally got around to seeing the first one.
Hey, speaking of seeing, did you watch John Adams?
I haven't yet. No,
should I continue making the disc for you?
Yeah,
so you have the whole thing?
I haven't.
Okay.
I almost took it out last night.
Almost took it out.
No, I have it out. I have it out. Our Wednesday night movie this week was The Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, gee.
Now, not something I would have picked out, but the wife goes by how many stars the fans give it. So
Yeah.
that got like 3.5 out of 5. So she won't go for anything less than 3. So well, you know, okay, it's light. You know, it's a genre thing. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as I was expecting it to be. I mean, I can't say the plot was awfully complicated. Nor could I say that I couldn't foresee every aspect of the plot long before it happened. But it was kind of fun and had a few witty lines in it. You know, as only Schwarzenegger can deliver them in his wooden approach. Anyway, there's an opening scene involving a drug dealer, but the first scene that Schwarzenegger is in, he plays a a tired out sheriff in a quiet little Arizona town on the border. You know, where he's only got 3 deputies. Okay, it's that small.
Mayberry.
Yeah, it's a little bigger than Mayberry, but not much. So the big thing that's going on as he's walking through in his civilian clothes on his day off is that apparently the local high school football team is playing for a championship game somewhere else, and everybody's getting on the bus. And there's one guy shows up who's waiting to get on the bus, and it was Tom DeMezza. And my wife and I both said the same thing. It's Tom DeMezza. And this guy looked just like him. He walked like him. He talked like him. Honest to God, this guy was Tom DeMezza. And Schwarzenegger says, he's got this expensive car. He says to DeMezza, his name isn't DeMezza in the movie, by the way, and it isn't really Tom DeMezza, but it looks just close enough. So he says to DeMezza, "You parked in the fire lane." So DeMezza tosses him the keys, and he says, "Hey, if there's a fire, move my car." Yeah. Schmuck, he says under his breath, schmuck. Anyway, so that's it. You don't see this guy again until the end of the movie.
Comes back and pick his car up.
No. Meanwhile, Schwarzenegger has to borrow his car to go after the bad guys, and the roof gets ripped off, and the doors get ripped off, and it's beat, and it's shot up, and it's beat to crap, everything, and when he's all done, and he's got the bad guys. I hope I'm not giving away too much of the plot. He parks it back in the back where it was, and so DeMezza gets off the bus in the last scene of the movie. He says, "What happened to my car?" "I told you not to park in the fire lane." So I don't know. It's worth a look here just to see the Tom DeMezza in this picture. But it reminds me. Last week we still got a little time, right?
Yeah.
Les Miserables for the first time. It was finally like the 10th picture of the Oscar-nominated pictures from last year that we had. I think we've seen them all now. And I gotta say, I'd never seen the stage play. I'm certainly familiar with the plot because it's been made into a movie at least half a dozen times before. I think there was one with Frederick March that was particularly excellent, non-musical, of course. So it wasn't, vaguely familiar with the music because it's been around for a while. But I gotta tell you, a movie that you're still thinking about the next day is a really well-done movie. And it's visually stunning. They've really done a nice job of translating the sweeping musical into a sweeping movie, even more sweeping than the stage show. It is brilliantly acted. Anne Hathaway, in particular, who isn't in the whole movie because she gets killed off fairly early. I hope I'm not giving away the plot again. But absolutely tremendous, and Hugh Jackman playing Jean Valjean, and Russell Crowe playing the policeman who tracks him down for all those years. It is, for all of the revolutionary undertones of this movie and overtones, it's all the people's uprising and all this stuff. The movie isn't really about politics at all. It isn't about revolution. It isn't about the exploitation of the poor. Ultimately, it's a story of redemption and mercy and forgiveness, and and
the other is just all background.
And in the end, it's about virtues in spite of all the misery that's going on. Well, of course, that's what it means. The title is The Miserables, right? Yeah. And I tell you, it's done entirely with music. There's maybe one or two spoken lines in the whole movie. Every line is sung, and even Russell Crowe. And on top of that, it was done live. There's no dubbed singing in this movie at all. Everybody's singing live.
Really?
Yeah. Which gives it a whole different look from your average Hollywood musical. And I tell you, I was real impressed. And I really, and it's long, runs like 2.5 hours, but made me want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah?
Yeah. Excellent. And once again, it's yet another movie that was a lot better than Argo, the one who got Best Picture. Argo was good,
Yeah.
But I think I've seen at least 5 of the 10 I thought were better. Were better. This may even be the best of the bunch.
Politicking.
but
Politicking. That's,
I suppose, yeah,
once in a while they get it right, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. King's Speech won, didn't it? Would that win Best Picture?
a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah. That earned it.
Yeah.
That was a good picture.
I do admire the movies that are able to the small movies, you know, that aren't relying on all the special effects, that are able to produce a real quality product.
You know, and that's what so many of the movies now are. It's all this.
Special.
Well, all the
Special
stuff that
effects.
Jamie gets paid for, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hope
Well,
he keeps his job.
let me tell you, there was plenty of that in the Arnold movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I wish I could count the number of bullets that went off in the car scene.
How many people were killed?
We just killed this guy, kid that.
You know, I used to be impressed with films like that and films of the great deeds of some people and these things. But for some reason, honest, after 9/11, that stuff is just so unreal, what they
Right.
show that happens, that I don't care for that stuff anymore. You know, it's even stuff that they're trying to make it believable. It's not believable because that's not really how it happens. You know, I don't know, maybe we got jaded after that, but it's you know, the real deeds of the real people are fantastic. The deeds they show on these movies they don't measure up anymore.
Right.
They don't measure up anymore.
Right. What was that? What was that one where every action hero in Hollywood was in?
Not the Adventurers.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those. Everything, you know.
The Marvels.
No, see, it doesn't even matter. They were all in it.
Yeah.
Arnold was even in it. Arnold. I think that was his
first one back.
First one back. Yeah.
After
He
being
must
on the
really
dark
be
side.
trying to make his money back as fast as he can, because he's. Let me tell you, he doesn't look like he used to. He really looks like
He's that old, huh?
Yeah, he really looks old. He really looks old. And he ain't that old.
He's a couple years older than we are.
I don't think so. I think he's younger. Isn't he younger?
Oh. No, I thought he was born in the 40s.
Was he?
Yeah, because his yeah, well.
I mean, I remember when Pumping Iron came out. I was in law school. I mean, that was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So you think he was already in his 30s at that point? Yeah, maybe. Oh no, not necessarily. No,
he could have been. He would have been in his 20s.
Yeah,
Like I
could
said,
have
a
been in
couple years older than we are. I'll have to Google him.
We'll have to Google him.
But you know what? I don't know if I could Google him. I don't know how to spell Schwarzenegger.
It's Schwartz and Egger. It's not Schwarzenegger.
You don't have to know how to spell it.
Just start it and it'll show up in Google.
Arnold.
Yeah,
Arnold.
just Arnold. Put Arnold in there. Arnold S. and it'll probably come up.
Okay. We'll do that.
Okay. Well, someone who's watching the show already knows the answer to that.
Oh.
Are we at the top of the
We're
hour?
at the top of the hour.
All right, close enough. Unless you got anything final to say, and anything going on with the bagpipers?
No, next weekend. Next weekend, the big Scottish Games, Capital District Scottish Games out at the Altamont Fairgrounds.
That's always a big event.
Yeah, big.
You're going to have the telephone pole toss thing?
The
What is
caber,
that called?
caber. Yeah, they're going to toss the caber, and I'll throw the bull, and it'll be a good time down there. It'll be good. He's got solo competitions in the morning Saturday, and the band competes in the afternoon Saturday. Then they'll be competing again on Sunday. But they always get a big crowd down there. They've got Celtic music all day long in the beer tent down there. So if you like that music, come on down, and you can.
Mike said he wasn't impressed with the Altamont Fair.
Well, it's not the Altamont Fair. It's at the Altamont Fairgrounds in Altamont. It's the Capital District Scottish Games.
What impresses Mike?
Besides Mike, I don't know.
He goes to every
fair.
He does?
Yeah, that's
Well,
what he says.
which
Not
wait?
not our Mike. That talks about Mike Mancini.
Oh, Mike
yeah.
Mancini.
Oh, he's at Scotticoke today, and he's at the State One tomorrow. Is that where he is?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Scotticoke, no, that was Skodak, wasn't it? trying to think where David Cassidy got arrested
Yeah,
the
that
other
was
day.
Kodak, yeah.
Yeah.
Kodak.
David Cassidy gets arrested in Skodak.
Boy, doesn't he look old?
Well, he is old. He's older than I am. He's a year older than me.
Is he?
Yeah.
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 62?
He's
Right.
63. I'm 62. Yeah.
Yeah, he,
So, so it's not enough that that David Cassidy, teenage idol, gets arrested. Teenage singing idol gets arrested for DWI felony in Rensselaer County, but the cop who pulls him over was Trooper Tom Jones.
oh, for the monkeys. I didn't know he was still.
No. Tom Jones from.
That's
that was
Davy
Davy Jones.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a
Davy.
locker. He's got the locker, right?
That's right,
Yeah.
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 Anyway, so when Cassidy finds out,
Tom
hey,
Jones
you're David
pulled.
Cassidy, what's your name? Tom Jones. He says, hey, what's new, pussycat? Cassidy says- so, but that's not enough. When now the ADA gets involved because he's arraigned in front of the judge and they have to set bail. And I think it's Cassidy says to him, the arresting officer was Tom Jones. And the ADA says without missing a beat, it's not unusual.
Good deal. Oh.
So anyway.
Can't make this stuff up.
Can't make this stuff up, but it does remind me of the day I had in court. On the same day, I had Charles Lindbergh, Pat Nixon, Steve Martin, and James Bond. All appearing in front of me on the same day.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're Mr. Bond, James Bond,
yes.
he said.
Now that's a franchise.
That's a franchise. That's a franchise, and now they're rebooting it, so they'll probably go back and film all the originals again with different versions.
It's great. I love the James Bond.
Russia, with love. Except for Thunderball, they don't own Thunderball. For some reason, either Sean Connery owns it himself, or but Thunderball was owned by somebody because he filmed it twice. Connery filmed it. Never Say Never Again was basically Thunderball, and he said maybe in another 20 years I'll do it again.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's about it. Hope you've enjoyed our intermittent podcast. We'll be back again probably. Well, no, next Friday I think I'm picking up Jamie in Boston actually, so we won't be back next Friday.
A week off.
Another week
All
off,
right.
unless we do the show Wednesday down at the Riverlink Park.
Oh,
That's an idea.
That's an idea.
We could do that.
Yeah. See what the weather is, and
Yeah. Weather's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, it takes nothing to bring the equipment down there.
there you go.
All right. If we get kicked out, we get kicked out. We'll get it all on camera.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
That's right. So tune in and see what happens.
You get special guests coming in?
Hey, who stops by? Whoever's
That's
docking.
That's right. Yeah, actually, we've been wanting to do it down there for some years, but we'll get to it.
Now we will.
Okay, I'm Bob Going with Gavin Murdoch and Jim Nikosha. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with more of The Show with No Name.